Hi, 5th grade. Welcome to lesson 9-8, subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Your learning goal for tonight is that students will use models and computational procedures to subtract fractions with unlike denominators. Let's get started. Take a minute. Let's write your learning goals into your math notebook. Your first one is to create equivalent fractions by finding the LCM of the two denominators. Your next learning goal is the product of the denominators of the two fractions is a common denominator of both fractions. You're going to learn to subtract the numerators, simplify or reduce as needed. Take a moment, pause the video, write your learning goals into your math notebook, and then continue when you are finished. All right, let's get started. You guys have done quite a bit of work with finding common denominators, but let's review again. See if you can do that tonight without too much help, but let's do one example together and then let's see if you can do it on your own. All right, remember that there's two ways that we do this. First way, let's look at your denominators. You have 3 and 4. So when looking at 3, let's get a different color here on our pen. Why don't we use something that's maybe going to stand out better? I don't know, what do we think? Let's try black. All right. So when looking at black, maybe this will stand out better. Yeah, that's better. So 3 and 4. You want to first find all of their multiples. So multiples of 3. You're going to start with 3, because 3 times 1. So we just skip count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. We're going to stop right there. We're going to go with 4, skip counting by 4s. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times, what did I stop at? 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16. We don't need to go any further because we found the common one, which is 12. If you wanted to use the make a cake strategy that we've taught you so far, you're going to start with 1 on the outside, and then we will put 3 and 4 on the inside. Since nothing goes out, nothing else goes into 3 and 4, 1 goes into 3 3 times, 1 goes into 4 4 times. Nothing else goes into those. Draw that around there. Put your multiplication in there. 1 times 3 times 4 equals 12. So we know that your least common multiple is 12. So then you simply need to fix your denominators. So then you have 2/3. You know that your common denominator is going to be 12. So we're going to change this down here for both denominators. And what did it take to make 3 equal 12? Well, if you look here, 3, 6, 9, 12, if you count over 1, 2, 3, 4, you know that 3 times 4 equals 12. What you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. We multiplied by 4. If you do it to the bottom, you have to do it to the top. 4 times 2 is 8. Over here, 4. 1, 2, 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract those. 8 minus 3 is 5. You know you don't add or subtract denominators. Your denominator stays the same. 5/12 is your answer. All right, you guys should be ready to do one by yourselves. Let's see. All right, your first practice problem for tonight is going to be 1/2 minus 1/3. See if you can find your common denominator, do your subtraction by yourself, pause your video, see if you can do it, and we'll come back and do it together. All right, let's see how you did. If you found your common denominator, you would have listed 2 and 3, and simply skip counting. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. Skip count 3s, 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3. You don't need to go any further because there's your common denominator. So let's put that down here as our common denominator. Then if you look at this, what did it take to make 2 equal 6? 1, 2, 3. So you multiply by 3. If you do it to the bottom, you have to do it to the top. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. What does it take to make 3 equal 6? 1, 2. So 3 times 2. If you do it to the bottom, you have to do it to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. Once your common denominator is there and you have fixed your numerators, you're ready to subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. And again, you don't do anything to the denominators except bring it over. Your answer should be 1/6. Hopefully you got 1/6. Let's do your next practice problem. All right, 4/3 minus 2/7. Remember, the first thing you have to do is fix your denominators. Take a minute, pause the video, do that, and when you're ready, continue. All right, let's look and see how you did. Here are your denominators, 3 and 7. Let's find your common multiples. All you have to do again is skip count. 3 times 1 is 3, times 2 is 6, times 3 is 9, times 4 is 12, times 5 is 15, times 6 is 18, times 7 is 21. If you skip count by 7, times 1 is 7, times 2 is 14, times 3 is 21, times 4 is 28. You don't have to go any further because there is your 21. Then if you do again, and if you want to look at your make a cake strategy, you've got 3, 7 on the bottom layer. Put a 1 here because that's all that goes into both of them. 1 goes into 3. 3 times, 1 goes into 7. 7 times, there's your top layer. Put your multiplication signs. 1 times 3 times 7 is 21. Again, there's your common denominator. So let's fix our fractions. 21 is your common denominator. Rewrite your fractions. 21 is it. So what did it take to make 3 equal 21? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You had to multiply 3 by 7. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. 4 times 7 is 28. Over here, what'd you multiply 7 by to get 21? 1, 2, 3. Whatever you multiplied by in the bottom, you do the same thing to the top. 3 times 2 is 6. Nothing happens to your denominator, so simply bring it over. And then 28 minus 6 is 22. Now, this is called an improper fraction. What do you do with an improper fraction? When you have that, you have to divide 21 into 22. How many times? Because this, remember, is a dividing sign. If you think about what your division sign looks like, fraction looks like that, that simply means divide. 21 divides into 22. How many whole times? So let's do this over here. 21 divides into 22. How many whole times? 1 whole time. And I keep emphasizing whole because that 1 becomes your whole number. Because 22 goes into 21 1 whole time. Once you subtract that, you're going to have 1 left over. That remainder becomes your numerator. Your denominator stays the same. So your answer is 1 and 21 hundredths. Got that? All right, let's do another one. All right. Practice word problem for tonight is, Rich made an apple pie. He used 5/6 of a tablespoon of cinnamon and 1/2 of a tablespoon of nutmeg. How much more cinnamon than nutmeg did Rich use? Figure this out, pause the video. When you're finished, start it again and let's solve this together. All right, let's look at this problem together. He made an apple pie and he used 5/6 of a tablespoon of cinnamon, 1/2 of a tablespoon of nutmeg. How much more cinnamon than nutmeg? It's a simple subtraction problem. What do you need to do first? You needed to find your common denominator. So over here, we're going to list our denominators and we're going to list their multiples. We're just going to skip count. 2, 4, 6. 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3. We'll start with 6. 6 times 1, 6 times 2. We don't really need to go any further because right there we have our common number. So our common denominator is 6. 5/6 is already there. So this one is not going to change. We do need to change 1/2 though to have a common denominator. What does it take to make 2 equal 6? 1, 2, 3. So you're simply going to multiply the 2 by 3. What you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. When you subtract, Your denominator always stays the same. You just simply bring it over. And 5 minus 3 is 2. Now, if you need to reduce, you find that common number that's going to divide into both of those. So what is a common number that divides into both 2 and 6? The common number that divides into both of those is 2. 2 divides into 2 one time. You'll get a 1. 2 divides into 6 3 times. Your reduced fraction is 1/3. And your answer is Rich used 1/3 more cinnamon than he did nutmeg. Do not forget to reduce your fractions. You should always show fractions in their lowest or their reduced form. So whenever you're looking to give your answer, please always reduce it to its lowest form, which in this case is 1/3. And remember that 2/6 and 1/3 are equivalent fractions. 1/3 is simply the reduced form of 2/6. All right, let's look at your challenge problem for tonight. 2/10 of the school's fundraising goal was raised by the 2nd grade. 3/5 of the school goal was raised by 5th grade. How much more of the school's goal did the 5th graders raise than the 2nd graders? How much money was raised by the other grade levels altogether? Simplify if needed and show all work. Now remember, this is two different problems that you need to do here, so make sure you do both of them. Bring your answers to school tomorrow and we'll check them together in class. All right, let's finish up for tonight. Review your learning goals. Have you mastered them? Do you need to go back over and practice any? Please don't skip over any of these lessons. Fractions are really, really important. And when you skip over the videos like this, you get nothing out of them. So really take the time to look back over these and learn something from them. So write down 1 or 2 questions you have possibly for your teacher. Make sure that you've got all your learning goals, practice problems, word problems, and your challenge problem written in your notebook. Bring it to school tomorrow and we will check. And good job working on your fractions. You've finished 9-8. See you guys tomorrow in class. Have a good night.